All right, so let's just go back to that interview where Cosas believes that matriculants should have not written the full syllabus today. This is more than 1 million matrics throughout the country set today for their English paper 1. For more on this, let us now speak to Cosas spokesperson Douglas Ngobeni. Douglas, good afternoon. Are you able to hear me loud and clear now?
Yes, and I apologize for the technical error as to because I do not know which party was responsible for it, but I can hear you clearly, as I've already asked my most sincere grievances to both the listeners and the learners who are seeking for their exams, which commenced this morning.
So they set for their English paper 1 today, and then Cosas says that they should not have written the full syllabus. What are your concerns, really?
COVID-19 has exposed the greatest form of inequalities in South Africa, particularly in the Department of Basic Education, where those in private schools would be able to conduct online lessons during the dark days of the pandemic. And when the pandemic affected South Africa, our learners from public schools will not have any form of teaching and learning. It is for that reason that we ended up calling for the Department of Basic Education to say that we want the learners, particularly matriculants, to write at least 75% of the syllabus, because at that point we believe, in fact, we still believe that, you will not want a situation where a lot of information is force-fed on learners necessarily because you want to cover up time. So it is that reason, the reason of inequality in South Africa, which thrived during the dark days of the pandemic, has landed us in this discussion, in this conclusion, to say that it cannot be correct that learners, particularly those in public schools, because we cannot speak on behalf of those of IEB, but those marginalized, disgruntled black learners in their majority are under a lot of strain, they are under a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
So the Congress of South African Students has went to that conclusion.
But then why are you only making this call now? The matriculants set for their English paper 1 today. Why do you deem it important only to voice your concerns now? Secondly, we do know that the examinations papers for matriculants are set well in advance. They were not set last month, but they were set at the beginning of this year. Didn't you know that?
It is very unfortunate that it has not, or it is only coming to your attention for the first time. We have met with the Department of Basic Education. We have raised that concern with the Department of Basic Education. We know for a fact that papers are set well in advance, but in this case, we would not want our learners to write those advanced question papers necessarily because we believe that they are a class of special caliber, so you will not want to examine them on normal basis.
But maybe, Douglas, maybe the question here should be, as you say that you've raised these concerns with the Basic Education Department prior to the examinations resuming today, what was the response of the department? And if you did not get your way with the department, why then are you still making this call? Because examinations are now underway.
That is necessarily because it looks like there is some sort of arrogance which is being meted against us by the Department of Basic Education. It is for this reason. In fact, this is somewhat a warning shot to the Department of Basic Education to say that, in fact, this comes after we have received complaints from learners, from grade 12 learners, who say that it looks like what you have called for, what you have said what you have said is going to happen, it looks like it's not happening, and going forward, it looks like the papers
But are we not wasting our
difficult as
time?
usual.
Are we not wasting our time having the discussion here? Shouldn't we be talking about what then happens going forward? How do you go about supporting those learners that you say that were disadvantaged during the COVID-19 pandemic because they didn't have the resources to go online with the teaching? Are we not wasting our time having this discussion here right now? Should we not talking about the way forward?
The way forward has already been brought forward by the Department of Basic Education, and to some extent, we also believe that the Matric catch-up programs was a way of trying to feed a lot of information to learners, to which, to some extent, which we believe that is trainers. So the Department of Education has come up with a solution, but if that solution does not work, but especially that we have put above a demand, and that demand has not been met by the Department of Education, it means that the Department of Education is being arrogant to us. So we are not going to be very lenient in our response to the Department of Basic Education, because January is just here. Our learners are going to receive results in January.
So what are you going to do?
You want a solution. You want a solution, and that solution.
Basic education. What are you planning to do? As you say that
there's arrogance.
As you say, you're not going to be lenient.
There's arrogance meted. I beg your pardon?
As you say that you're not going to be lenient to the Basic Education Department, what are you planning to do? How are you planning to address this matter as you claim that they are arrogant?
It was not fashionable for the class of 1976 to go to the streets. So I don't think it is going to be difficult for us to go back to the street to demand to the basic education. In each and every corner of the country, we will be having tires burning to make sure that there is a progression of some nature for our learners. So what I'm saying is that we are going to the street because these things of boardrooms seem not to be working.
Yeah, I would have loved to ask you as to how do you believe that will change the status quo as you failed with your engagements with the Department of Basic Education. But we've run out of time. We have to leave it at that. Well, there you have it. That's Cosas spokesperson Douglas Ngobeni talking to us about their concerns as the Learners Union, saying that the learners, matriculants specifically, should not have been allowed to write the full syllabus as they began their examinations today with English Paper 1.